Assalamualaikum. Today we are going to start new chapter vector calculus, which is chapter number 16. And in this chapter we are going to learn about vector fields. And vector fields are the functions that assign vectors to points in space. And we also learn how to find line integrals. And line integrals are can be used to find the work done by a force field in moving an object along a curve. Similarly, we will have an idea about surface integrals, and which can be used to find the rate of the fluid flow across the surface. And in the connections between these new types of integrals and the single, double, and triple integrals we have already met are given by the higher dimensional versions of the fundamental theorem of calculus called Green's theorem, Stokes theorem, and divergence theorem, etc. So let's start with the section 16.1, which is about vector fields. And in this section we'll learn about various types of vector fields. So first of all, let's have an idea about a vector fields. You can see a cluster of vectors in both the figures, and this indicate the wind speed and direction at the point at points, different points 10 meters above the surface elevation in the San Francisco Bay Area. And this picture is taken on February 20, 2007, and this picture is taken on 21st February 2007. You can see in both the pictures these graphs are very different. This vector field is totally different from the this vector field. So position of so the direction of wind is different in both the days. So notice that the wind patterns on consecutive days are quite different. Alright, associated with every point in the air, we can imagine wind velocity vectors. So this is an example of wind velocity vector, right? There are more examples of velocity vectors like ocean currents, like flow past an airfoil. Alright, now there is a definition of force field. So another type of a vector field is called a force field, and this associates a force vector with each point in the region. So an example is the gravitational force field given in example number 4 in the book. Now, in general, a vector field is a function. Now, in the language of mathematics, vector field is a function whose domain is a set of points in R square. That is, it consists of ordered pairs xy, or R cube. That is, it consists of ordered triplets xyz, and the range is the set of vectors in V2 or V3. So let D be a set in R square, that is a plane region. A vector field in R square is a function f that assigns to each point xy in D a two-dimensional vector fxy. So the best way to picture a vector field is to draw the arrow representing the vector fxy starting at the point xy. So the key is to start from the point xy. Of course, it is impossible to do this for all the points, so we can do this for just a few points as a sample. Still, we can gain a reasonable impression of f by doing it for a few representative points in D as shown. So this is a vector field for some vector function. Since fxy is a 2D vector, so we can write it in terms of the component functions p and q. And fxy is equal to pxy I plus qxy j. That is, its I component is pxy and j component is qxy. P and q both are functions of xy, and they are scalar functions. So that in that reference they are called scalar fields to distinguish them from vector fields. So let E be the subset of R cube. Now, what is vector field in R cube? So vector field, as we said, vector field is a function. Now if domain is R cube, then vector field on R cube is function f that assigns to each point x, y, z in the region E a three-dimensional vector fx, y, z. So this is a graph of a vector field in 3 dimension. We can express it in terms of its components p, q, r. So component functions p, x, y, z, q, x, y, z, r, x, y, z are scalars. So we can also define the continuity of vector fields. A vector field is continuous if its components are continuous. So if a vector field lies in R3, then its components p, q, r must be continuous. Then f is also continuous. We sometimes identify a point x, y, z with its position vector x, vector x, y, z, and write fx instead of fx, y, z. Then f becomes a function that assigns a vector to a vector x, okay? Rather than a point, it assigns a vector to a vector. So a vector field on R square is defined by, so this is an example. We have a vector field fxy is equal to minus y I plus xj, right? So let's try to draw this vector field. For this, we'll have to find the values of this vector function for some points. First of all, let x, y be 1, 0. That is, x is equal to 1, y is equal to 0. Now, plug in x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 0 here. So we have 0i plus 1j. So we are left with j. f10 is j. Now how to draw it? Next target is to draw this vector. So we have to start from the point 1, 0, right? We have to start from the point 1, 0. 1, 0 point lies somewhere here, okay? Now how to draw this vector? We starting point is 1, 0. We have to move 0 units in the direction of I, because I is not present in this representation. So we have to move 0 units, that is, we are standing still here, and then we have to move 1 unit in the direction of j. Since sign is positive, so we will move upwards, okay, 1 unit. So this is the ending point, this is the starting point, and this is the ending point, and we will join the starting point with the ending point to have the vector, corresponding vector, okay. Okay, next f01. If we have if we have a point 01, now point 01 lies here, okay. First of all, find the value of the function, vector function xy at 01. Now x is 0 and y is 1. X is 0 means this portion is 0, and y1 means we have minus I, okay. So f of 01 is minus I. So how to actually draw it? So our starting point is 01, okay. Starting point is 01. Now we have to move in I direction, but sign is negative, okay. So positive orientation of horizontal movement is moving towards right. So negative orientation, negative sign means we have to move in the opposite side. That is, we have to move towards left side. How many units? 1 unit. So j component is 0. So vertical movement is 0. So we don't have to move upwards or downwards, vertically upwards or downwards, right? So starting point is 0, 1 and ending point is this. We just moved 1 units towards left side and we ended up at that point. So join initial point and terminal point. So we have a vector, and this shows the direction. We started from here and we ended, our movement ended at this point, right? Similarly, for 0, 3. 0, 3, first of all, we have to find the value of the function so that we can find how many units we have to move in which direction. So f03, that is x is 0, y is 3. Now plug in the values. X0 means this part is 0. So movement along y-axis is 0. So vertical movement is 0, that is there is no vertical movement, and y is 3. So here we have minus 3i. Okay, we have to move 3 units horizontally but in negative direction. So starting point is 0, 3. This is the point 0, 3. So we have to move 3 units, 1, 2, 3 towards left. So we'll end up here and we'll join initial point and end point to obtain the vector, corresponding vector. Okay, let's have another attempt. F22. So how to draw F22? So this is vector. I forgot to write this arrow here. This is vector. F22. So let me write. I can write even now. So okay, this is the vector F22. That is x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2. So this gives us minus 2i minus 2 plus 2j. Okay, starting point is 2. First we move horizontally, but direction is negative, so we have to move towards left. Okay, 1 unit, 2 units, we are here. After moving 2 units along x-axis in negative direction, now we have to move upwards because positive 2j, upwards 2 units. So these are upwards 2 units. So this is the ending point. So this is the starting point, this is the ending point. Join these two. Okay, so this is the vector which represents F22. All right, so similarly we can find all these vectors and let's have few observations. Continuing in this way, we calculate several other representative values of fxy in this table. So there is the table. You can draw each of them for your practice. Now we draw the corresponding vectors to represent the vector fields shown. You can draw yourself. There are so many are drawn. You can identify which one is which vector. So it appears that, now observation here is, it appears that each arrow is the tangent to a circle with center the origin. So a unit circle is shown here. So let's see generally is it true. To confirm this, we take the dot product of the position vector x is equal to xi plus yj. This is any point in the plane, and we take a position vector xi plus yj, and we take a dot product with this function f, and we see if it is 0. This is 0. It means these two are perpendicular to each other. So that this shows that fxy is perpendicular to the position vector xy and is therefore tangent to a circle with the center origin and the radius x mod, which is x square plus y square. Okay, also notice that mod of absolute value of fxy is equal to again absolute value of x. So the magnitude of the vector fxy is equal to the radius of the circle. Okay. So some computer algebra systems are capable of plotting vector fields because it is not easy to plot vector fields, in particular in R cube. In 3 dimension, it is somehow impossible to draw manually. So they are computer algebra systems which can draw it automatically. So they give a better impression of the vector field than is possible by hand, because the computer can plot a large number of representative vectors. So this figure shows the computer generated vector field, and notice that the computer scales the length of the vectors, so they are not too long and yet are proportional to their true length. So this is there are a few more examples of computer generated vector fields, and here is a vector field in R cube given by fxyz is equal to zk, and we are required to sketch this. Although I said vector field in R cube, to draw a vector field in R cube is a tedious job, almost impossible, but this can be drawn, because this just depends upon z, and that is the heights of the function. So values of if we give values of z, we can draw vectors parallel to z-axis. Okay, so let's see what happens. Alright, so this is the figure for this vector field. Okay, so above xy plane its directions are positive, below xy plane its directions are above xy plane its directions are upwards, and below xy plane its directions are downwards, because above xy plane z is positive, below xy plane z is negative. So when z is negative, direction is negative; when z is positive, direction is positive. And when the value of z is smaller, you can see smaller vectors. When value of z is larger, then you can see the larger vectors. Notice that all the vectors are vertical and point upwards above x-axis plane or downwards below. The magnitude increases with the distance from the xy plane. So we were able to draw the vector field in this example by hand because of its particularly simple formula, right? Because it depended upon only one z. So most 3D vector fields, however, are virtually impossible to sketch by hand. So we need to resort to a computer algebraic system. Now examples are shown in the following figures. So these are computer generated 3D vector fields. You can see in your book as well, and analysis is also given. And I took all these examples from the book. So there is another example. Imagine a fluid flowing steadily along a pipe, and let b and xy be the velocity vector at the point xyz. Then b assigns a vector to each point xyz in certain domain E, the interior of the pipe. So v is a vector field on R cube called velocity field, and this is the figure shown for this example. So the speed at any given point is indicated by the length of the arrow. Okay. Velocity fields also occur in other areas of physics as well. For instance, the velocity vector in example 1 could be used as velocity field describing the counterclockwise rotation of a wheel. Okay, next, this is very important definition. So far we have learned what is a vector field, how to draw it. Okay, so next definition is gradient vector field, and you know it very well. Gradient is a vector. Okay, we defined gradient in chapter number 14, right? So gradient is a vector. If f is a scalar function of two variables, recall from section 14.6 that its gradient del f or gradient f is defined by del f is equal to partial derivative of f with respect to x I plus partial derivative of y f with respect to y j. Ij are unit vectors in the direction of x and y respectively. So del f is a vector field on R square and is called gradient vector field. Okay. Likewise, if f is a scalar function of three variables, its gradient vector is defined by this, right? And next question, find the gradient vector field of this function, x square y minus y cube. So first of all, we have to find the gradient vector, and then we will draw it as we drew the vector field in first example. Okay, and this is the figure for this gradient field. And there is very interesting observation. Again, you have learned it in chapter 14, section 14.6 in particular. This is a gradient field along with level curves of the surface, level curves of the surface, right? So you can observe that these gradient vectors are perpendicular to the level curves, right? So we have already seen in chapter 14.6 that gradient is perpendicular to the level curve at that particular point. So notice that gradient vectors are perpendicular to the level curves, as we would expect from chapter number section number 14.6. Okay. Another observation, gradient vectors are long where the level curves are close to each other. Okay. Short where the level curves are farther apart, right? And that is because the length of the gradient vector is the value of the directional vector of f, and closely spaced level curves indicate a steep graph, right? Okay, another example. So far what we learned, we discussed vector field, and then we learned how to draw a vector field. Then we defined gradient vector field, and then we saw that gradient vector field, how to draw a gradient vector field, and there were a few observations about the gradient vector field. And now again, a very important definition, conservative vector field. A vector field f is called a conservative vector field if it is the gradient of some scalar function. That is, if there exists a function f such that f is equal to del f. This f is scalar, this f is vector. Okay. So in this situation, f is called a potential function for f. So note, all vector fields are not all vector fields are conservative. Still, such fields do arise frequently in physics. Not all vector fields are conservative. This is the point to be noted. Okay, there is an example, the gravitational field F, an example of your book, example number 4 of your book. This is the vector field, and this is conservative because we can find a function, this f, such that gradient of this function is this vector. Okay, and we can prove this by solving this. So this means this vector is conservative vector field. This vector field is conservative vector field. Okay, so that's all for today, and we'll discuss rest of the things in the online session, and we'll practice few questions as we always do. Okay, take care. Bye bye. See you. Allah Hafiz.